Welcome to Estonia. So it is very big honor to be here to speak to you today. And actually, the introduction was also pretty interesting, but it is how it is. So as you know, probably already, Estonia is a very small country. We don't have much people, but we have to have, smart people, good people to work this country up. So my topic today is how to be bigger than yourself. And this is stemming from the fact that Estonia is small. We have only 1.3 million people. We have, it's a small country. We have 45,000 square kilometers, not much. We don't also have any, natural resources. So the climate is what it is, although Sonny put it very, very nicely that you need sunglasses. But the actual truth is that you also need the scarves and the boots and hats and all you can think of, especially during winter time. So how is it possible then to punch above your weight if you are small and you don't have all the things that the other countries have? So I really like to think about countries as people. So as people, we all have our strengths and our weaknesses. It is no point in trying to overcome your weaknesses, because your weaknesses will still be your weaknesses. Somebody is always better. But what is your strength? If you strengthen the strength, you can become number one. And I think there is the focus. What our country is known for is that we are tech savvy, we are, digital country. So how we have got there? Basically, you all probably know Skype, and we like to exploit this example that Skype was established here, and from Skype we actually it created some sort of environment for all these new digital startups to raise from. And as you probably also know, we are the country that has most startups per capita. So people are quite inventive and coming up with new solutions because we don't have much resources but our heads. What have we done to get here? Of course, it is good to have good examples, good business examples, but it is also what we have tried to do, introducing programming in preschooling, because it's very gainful to program. It's another language, and children learn the language very easily. We also have this children's musical and children's heroes who are actually this one dog that is inventor. And so the musical is all about, math is fun, science is good. It's all about like this. So you get it from the very, very early age. And actually, when I read just a couple of months ago Adams Grant Originals, then it was funny to read that he talks about there how the heroes that you had when you were like 5 or 6 really determine what you become later on, like unconsciously. So we also had digital identities when other countries even didn't think about this. And this is also funny when I'm in European Parliament, and then I've had the discussions with other countries, meaning that we all live our own lives. People are online all the time. So if the country is not there, then people alienate from the country, because this is something totally different. It's so analog, whereas we are more or less digital. You have to come up with solutions on the governmental side as well. And this of course, needs open mindset, an open mindset for failure as well. That, if you are the first to introduce something, then you are also the first one to make mistakes. So you have to take that risk. But small has its advantages. Like, you can turn the small ship around quite easily. You can't really turn the big ship. So we can introduce new approaches on our government level that nobody else can't. One principle that we have to keep in mind as well is that we have a lot of fears, and very often, the fears keep us down. So if we ask ourselves the question, what would you do if you weren't afraid, then, it would be much easier. So this all has led us to a situation where, I'm currently, last month actually, working in Belgium. I've been working there for 4 years now. And it is funny how strong the image of this digital Estonia is, or the digital country that we have. I even had a conversation with one Estonian who lives there for long, and it doesn't work in politics or any affair like this, but he said that, do you also get this, that a co-worker comes to you and said, "You're Estonian, right? See, my computer doesn't work." So it comes with already. But being tech savvy has its disadvantages as well. So what we know, that competing with artificial intelligence and robots, we actually need to really force our human skills. And what is problematic is that, if you think about the machines, and when people created machines, they created the machines to give away their, physically difficult tasks. What has happened to us? We are physically weaker than our ancestors. Now we are giving away our cognitive tasks. What happens to us due to this? We have to keep this in mind. Using technology too much definitely brings about a whole new series of problems. I once met Dr. Mary Aiken, who is one of the first cyber psychologists of the world, and she has written this very interesting book called The Cyber Effect. It talks about different problems that we encounter, starting from babies, going to adults, but I will only talk about the teenagers, because teenagers, when you are a teenager, you try to find out who you are. And when we were young, it was just that, you get feedback from your friends, your family. You try to figure out how you really fit in the picture, how people like you. And then now the teenagers, they really have to build up sort of two identities. Their offline identity and then their cyber identity, or the cyber me. And they do it, they use the best filters that there are. They use the best angles to take the pictures. And then they put this online, and still they get few likes, or somebody comments that, well, it's an ugly picture. And then they get this message that if people don't like the best version of me that I've put out there, they will never like me as a person. So why I'm telling this is that due to the social media, we all are our personal brands as well. We build them either consciously or unconsciously, how we appear, how other people see us, and it is important. So when there is a big difference between what you really are and what you present, then sooner or later there's this crash or conflict. And we have to keep this in mind. I'm just bringing you this example from myself, is that I haven't built my personal brand as consciously, but you know, people have a picture of me in their mind because I appear on TV. You know, I'm writing a blog, so they have sort of I'm giving the speeches, and so they have a view of me, and I think that I'm exactly the same when I'm with my friends. Well, actually, I make some really lousy jokes, but what I don't do on stage. Sometimes I do, but anyway, so I'm not really a different person. That's what I think. But then I've had this encounters with people who say that, you know, I'm usually, you know, wearing a dress and you know, heels and everything, but I also have, you know, children, and I go to playground and my hair is, you know, put up, and there's a stain on my t-shirt and all these things, and they say that you're not the Kaja Kallas we know. Is like, I am actually. This is also me. But why I'm telling this is that you have your personal brand and yourself, and how do you really separate them? So if you fail as a brand, for example, if you become the prime minister of a country, and usually prime ministers, they leave after the elections if they don't win the elections. So if you, in your mind, think yourself as a prime minister, and then you fail as a prime minister, what happens to your, you know, personal identity? Are you failure as you, or can you keep them separately if everything is combined in two? So this is a very problematic. It's a new problem that we have. So how can you go on with your life if you as a brand have failed in some ways? Coming back to the country, then it is actually the same. Like, we have this strong brand of e-governance and e-Estonia and digital nation. And if we don't work on this brand, meaning that, you know, everybody knows this, but then you come to Estonia and you become the e-resident. I know that in your program you also have Kaspar Korjus, who will talk about e-residence, the program that we have. You know, you could become e-resident and enjoy all the digital services that we have here. But then, you know, you come to the brand, you take up this digital identity to enjoy the services that we have here, and if they fail, then, you know, this brand has failed as well. So it can't work separately. So in order to have also room for questions, I will finish here by saying that we can be bigger than ourselves, and we have to build ourselves to be bigger than ourselves, but there can't be this gap between what we actually are and what we can deliver. So I will finish with that. Thank you.
Kaja, I want to ask you one final question before you get off stage. As an Estonian, what would be the one piece of advice you would give all of these international people over here to keep in mind as they spend the next 3 weeks in Estonia?
One advice. Well, the sunglasses was a good advice. Yeah. I would say that just be very open, because it's a very controversial country in a sense that you can see that we have, you know, this old town and it is old traditions. We have the very untouched nature, but at the same time we are so, you know, tech savvy. So there is like this conflict, but at the same time for us it's totally logical. So you can switch off from your devices and actually go to the nature and never see anybody in the fog or in the bog or you know, in the forest. So I would advise to go out of the cities to go to the nature. You can, pick mushrooms, you can pick berries, and you can all eat them because it's very organic as well. And what is actually really interesting about our people is that although we are quite tech savvy, we also know which mushrooms you can eat and which mushrooms you can't. So it is like in Belgium when we have this discussion. Oh yeah, I went to the forest to pick the mushroom. How do you know which ones to eat? But actually, you have your grandmothers who tell you and give this, advice, and it goes from generation to generation. So I would advise to see that side of Estonia as well.
Yeah, it's really bizarre because I'll be taking a walk with an Estonian friend, and they'll go, "Oh, look at that, a raw strawberry."
Yeah. Exactly.
And by the way, 25% of the forest in Estonia, I learned this yesterday, is certified organic, right? So the stuff that you pick is actually organic. And what it means by that is that it's not polluted in any way.
Yeah, exactly.
So thank you so much. It was
you.
such a pleasure having you on stage with us. Thank you so much for joining us at Mindvalley.
Thank you. Have fun.